Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Art Study of You. I am your host, Cameron Gilmore. New backdrop, new scenery. Thought we'd change it up a little bit. My man Scott, well, before I give my thoughts, here's some recaps of what he talked about on the episode 61.
And then the press release hit, and Governor Youngkin gave us a praise report, I like to call it, talking about how we're going to be investing $1 million into the city of Norfolk in Virginia, or can help someone. So what I've learned is that it is important for me to share my story. It's important for me to share my message and encourage people. I lived in over 8 different states between the age of 13, well, from the age of 12 to 16. I was in 8 different states, 11 different schools, or 7 or 10 different schools. And so by time things like, it was so bad that my dad was like going to move, and he was going to put me in an apartment at the age of like 15 to live by myself. And he was just going to send me money to go to the grocery store and buy food. Like, he was so interested in progressing in his career. I didn't want to go back home because I made the decision when I was 12 that I was going to live with my father. And my mom didn't like that. In fact, I had to lie to her that I was just going to visit. And then I called her like 2 weeks before I was supposed to return.
What I love about Scott's interview, there's so much to unpack, but I really just want to give the 4 takeaways really of what I pulled out of this interview with my buddy Scott. The first is the absolute amount of love that he has for his wife. If you didn't catch it, here's a clip on what he was talking.
This is your what number of marriage. While she's putting number 1, I'm putting number 2. And that sucks. Like, that to me is just like, that's not fair to her that I have to recognize my first marriage on my marriage certificate to her. Like, I never understood that. And I still don't think it's right. But the other things in there, like, what's interesting is, like, we're such a blessed family. And I really believe, and I truly believe that, yes, I believe God blesses his children. I believe that God blesses me, like, and he blesses my wife and my children, no doubt. But I believe that many of the blessings that we received is because my wife is so incredible, and she did things in her life to make sure that God, was pleased with her and in her decisions and what she did. So,
look, I mean, Scott brings an absolute love. More importantly, he brings a sense of, without her being by his side and also having the same entrepreneur spirit, because he talks about the difference between being a business owner and an entrepreneur. He knew that he could not accomplish what he wanted to accomplish without his wife being there and supporting him, because it's a lifestyle for them. This business and what they do is an absolute lifestyle. It's not something that he can just turn on and turn off. She supports him. Because she supports him, he's able to do and accomplish so many things. But he's always given it back to his wife. He's saying that she has did things and prepared herself and kept herself in a certain way so God could help him find her when the timing was right. And I think that is absolutely brilliant. If you think about it, doesn't matter really how we get and arrive to a destination. Everybody takes different paths. Some get there a lot quicker, some take slower, but your destination is your destination. So what I'm going to address right now is just to the women who listen to this. Listen, ladies, moms, single parents, those of you that are not moms, women in general, let's just do that. Women in general, listen, the divine calling you have in this life is unbelievable. There is no way you can put or quantify a price tag. Why? For many things. One is you help us men tap into and uncover these emotional platitudes that we have, that we block and put away and put up in a shelf, because when you're growing up as a man, you're told don't cry, don't be a baby, and other words that we won't use on this podcast. Women, what you do is you have a beautiful way of uncovering and unlocking and peeling back those multitude onion layers, if you were, under. You have the ability to peel back all those layers of onions to help us understand where we are and where we're going. So yes, it is tiring. It is daunting oftentimes. More importantly is you feel like you're at it alone. You feel like you're at it sometimes all just by yourself. But don't get discouraged. And here's why you don't get discouraged. Just like the sun rises the next day, just like the flowers bloom in the summertime and the snow comes in the wintertime, those of you that are in snowy areas, just like those things are a surety, what I do know is the surety is this, that you women have just an absolute bountiful of knowledge and blessings and the way that you can peel and grow. So you women, you are queens, 100%. You need to look at yourself as queens. Go and study how queens are treated. They're royalty. You're not just sent to this earth just to be here. You are sent to this earth because you were born of royal lineage. 100% you are born of royal lineage. And because you were born of royal lineage, therefore look at yourself as royalty. Now, royalty is not, come on, look, it's not what you see or is shown on social media, on magazines. This is what you should look like. This is how you look, act, talk, walk. No. Royalty is a birthright. It's given deep inside. There's something that's deep inside for all of us, all of you women, that once you recognize and you have a firm belief and you call out every morning that you are of royalty, you're from a royal lineage, you then will be able to look at your life and say, man, I absolutely love where I'm at in my life. It doesn't look, I know you guys beat yourself up a lot. I know, because I'm the hot wife and I have conversations all through the night sometimes. I love the conversations, but I love how she is actively involved in everything, specifically in our children's lives, specifically in the relationship that we have between each other. And that is what I find most intriguing about women. You can compartmentalize, you can bring on so much, and yet you can still carry yourself in a very calm and cool, collective way. It doesn't happen like that all the time, which is totally fine. And give yourself a break, right? If you got to go out and have a Coke and a smile, go out and have a Coke and a smile. Don't feel bad about it. But you are raising generations to come. You are raising a next generation that it was sprouting up. You are raising this generation to come. Now, listen, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are doing all the work. No, that's not at all what I'm saying. My comments right now are addressed specifically towards the women. Because what you have and the abilities and the attributes and the calling that you've been given is fantastic. Us men, right, we rely so much on you and the relationship we have with each other that oftentimes it feels like you guys are pulling the entire weight of the family and everything else is on there, 100%. So here's what I'll say. As you build on yourself, as you grow yourself, as you continue to develop personally and emotionally and spiritually and business-wise, there's nothing wrong with reading books about business, how to start a business and run the business. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, which you should be doing, which will help continue the growth both personally and, again, personally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Here's what I will say also, is that in those dark hours, in those times that you just don't understand why, it's okay to cry it out. Completely bawl. Completely scream and yell and ask the questions why. Because here's what happens after the crying and after the mountains and mountains and tears that come and flow from your eyes. What happens is right after that is clarity. Think about this. Rain is beautiful because it does two things. One, it washes away and it purges out all that crap. Rain does. But then after rain, what happens? The sun rises. The sun comes out. The clouds depart. And then there's this clarity. It's clean and beautiful. You can see clearly on multiple things. It has washed out and flushed out all this debris that was backing up and blocking that river to flow. Just like rain, when we cry, it purges. It starts to bring to life some of those things that we've kept deep down inside. When you cry, now you are putting yourself in a position to learn and grow. Because once you're done, you now at the forefront, you can see, this is what I've been holding. This is what has been blocking. This is the blockade that has pushed me and not allowed me to progress. Now that you can recognize the blockade, you then have clarity. How do I move this blockade? How do I get out of this blockade? How do I push through this blockade? And that is this. The next step is then it's just writing and going. You write down the 3 things that you're grateful for. You write down the 3 things you want to focus on, and then you push forward. Change is hard. Growth is difficult. I talk about this all the time. Every time I come out of the gym, I talk about how I failed and I sweat. Absolutely. You don't go into the gym to win. You go into the gym to fail. If you don't believe me, then what are the purpose and designs of those weights? The purpose and design of those heavy, non-filling weights, the whole design is to help us fail. That's what it is. The more we fail, the more we grow. It hurts. You're sore the next day. Your body is sore. Your mind is sore. Your spirit is sore. But that is the purpose of why those weights are there. That's also the purpose why we cry and purge. And that's also the purpose, as I've been speaking specifically to the women, that is the purpose of why you guys are queens, born of royal lineage. You can handle so much more than men can. An abundance amount that you can handle is unbelievable. Now, look, I know I was a single dad for years. It's tough. It's really, really tough when you've got to try to balance everything, the emotional side and the mental side, the physical and the spiritual, all of that. It's really, really hard. I remember when we got married, it just seemed like it when the hot wife and I got married, it opened up this whole cavern of blessings that were bountiful. So women, please take time for yourself. Schedule time. Sit down with your husbands or your partners and say, listen, I need some alone time. I need my time. Don't feel bad, because I guarantee you are going to feel bad, because you shouldn't feel like, why am I I'm being selfish? No. Schedule time for yourself. Schedule time to be by yourself. Schedule time to be quiet. Schedule time to just think and understand who you are. Because when you understand, then the clarity comes, and then you will answer the call. The calling of your life is to be great. The calling of your life is to be a royal standard for what you're setting for your family. One of my favorite parts of the entire interview with Scott was the recognition of his wife and what she has done. Oh, those are my thoughts on that point there. All right, let me get to this next point here. Listen to it, and I'll come right back.
Well, and something I don't talk about a lot would be, it's basically out there at this point, but the irony is that God's gifts are stronger than any gift man will ever give you. And the funny thing is that I knew the gift that man was trying to give me wasn't good enough. So that's why I dropped out of high school and never even got my GED, and I just went after business. School was in my way. Now, that is not a recommendation, and that is not me putting a stamp of approval, because there's so many things that I learned through Hard Knocks that I could have learned if I would have stayed in school and went to college. For sure. I would have learned those years ago, things that I'm learning today. But that being said, I'm very thankful for the path that I was put on.
What I love about this part that he talks about is the fact that he knew that at a very young age, his calling in life, he knew what it is. School just was not what he wanted. He just knew he was going to be a business owner. That's what he knew. He knew that business was his path, his trajectory in life. He knew it. Once he recognized it, he said, school was just in my way, and I had to start business. Now, listen, he also did come back and said he doesn't recommend the path that he took because it has been very difficult. You've heard him talk about it. It's very, very hard. A lot of hard lessons that he's had to learn. But at the same time, Scott already knew his calling in life. He knew it. God had already showed it to him. He said, I am moving forward. Now, listen, I'm not telling everybody to go out and say, hey, look, this is my calling and I'm going to go and push for it. Perfect. But if you think, and if you know that your calling is to be something that you're not currently in line with, then realign it. One thing that I will say is here's how I would recommend and counsel everybody to attack this. One is to find individuals that are of the same mind and same purpose, the same path that you're on, right? Maybe different. If it's business, then it's business. If it's marketing, marketing. If it's, electrical or whatever it may be, find those individuals and link up with them. Get to know them. Ask them a bazillion questions. People love to share their knowledge, right? How do I get people on this podcast? Is because people are open and want to share what they have learned. They want to set people up for success. They want people not to travel the same hard roads that they did, right? If we don't understand history, it will always repeat itself. So the first thing you do is find individuals that are in the same space that you are going down and link up with them, DM them, right? If you're going to DM them, if you're going to reach out to them, be willing to do the tasks in which they provide. Because if you just start asking them, one thing that vexes me when people ask for me to do coaching or mentor them is I will give them tasks to do. And if they don't do it, okay, then I know, how serious are you? I'll give somebody a chance, obviously a chance because I understand life, right? But if you don't do it again, then we have nothing further to discuss. Because if you can't hold yourself accountable to the tasks in what I'm asking you to do, then I know you're not going to hold those accountable that you're trying to oversee or the direction you're trying to go. So first thing is recognize those individuals that are in the space that you are and reach out to them, ask them, talk to them, sign up for the different groups that are out there, follow people that are giving wisdom and knowledge about the vertical that you're going into. The second thing is when you write out the vision of why you want to go down this road. We talk about vision boards all the time. I'm talking about the vision that you have for yourself. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? With the career that you're wanting to choose, the industry that you're going after. 5 years, write it out. Write out what you will be doing. I am this is where I'm at, this is where I live, this is the company I've either started or the company that I'm involved with, right? This is where I'm at, and literally write it out as if you are already there, as if you're bringing in your future self to your current self and saying, this is where we're going, this is what I'm doing. So you have to have a vision, you have to have a direction, you have to have something that's going to get you to think about it on a daily basis, because you can start off fast, but when the storms comes, because they will, again, going back to failing, when those trials of stoppage comes, because the universe and your mind, specifically your mind, we're getting to this right now. Your mind is does a couple things, right? It's the fight, the flight, or freeze type mentality. When you go down a new path, a path that you've never been down before, your brain is designed to keep you out of harm's way. Specifically, if you don't look it up, I'll even include a couple in my posts later on in the week. I'll include a link that you can go read. But the brain is specifically designed to keep you out of harm's way. So when you start getting those thoughts of I can't, it's too much, I made a mistake, right? You got to go to the vision and go back to that and say, this is why I'm going down this road, because this is where I'm going to be. It doesn't mean you're starting a business. It doesn't mean that you're having a complete career change. No, that's not at all what it means. All it means is you have clarity on where you want to be in 5 years. Why 5 years? Because you understand this. With entrepreneurs, startup businesses, they typically only last 3 years. 3 years of a vision, that's it. But if you have 5 years, that's an unknown quantity. It's an unknown study. It's an unknown fact. So in 5 years, where do you want to be, right? In your own business, if you're going to start your own business, where do you want to be personally? So the first thing is, where do you want to be personally? Where do you want to be spiritually? And where do you want to be mentally, right? Personally is going to be, I live here. The cars I'm driving are this we've done on these vacations. Spiritually, however you guys look at spirituality, it's on you. And then mentally, where do you want to be mentally? How many books have I read? Have I written my own book? The best book that Craig Smith talks about all the time. The best book that is ever read is the one that we write. Well, there we go. That was a little tongue twister. But that is the vision, right? So connect with people that are in the same space. That's part number one. Part number two is create that vision. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now, right? And then 3 is, what are you going to do when the rough times come? That is the question, the big question. What are you going to do when the rough times come? Because they will. 100% they're going to come. And it's hard. It's difficult. It's going to beat you up. It's going to beat you up. I know that because I've been through plenty of rough times. If I could go down the list of companies that I've tried to start over the years that had just bombshelled, that absolutely did not take off, was not good, wasted a ton of people's time, energy, money, resources, trust, and believability. I mean, I can go down the list of the companies that we tried to start, and it didn't work at all. But what I can tell you is, just like Gay Hendricks talks about, let's go to this point about your mind. Gay Hendricks talks about in The Big Leap, which is why I absolutely love this book, is self-sabotaging, meaning your brain is now saying, we are going to keep you safe. Therefore, we are going to sabotage what you are trying to do to keep you in the space that you're currently at. When you recognize that upper limit, you now can start to break through and break free from the upper limit. You then push through that upper limit, so you set new limits for yourself. And then Gay Hendricks talks about, once you understand that, then you know when you're trying to self-sabotage yourself, then you start to move towards, right, building a better you, better version of yourself, right? Then you get into another book, what I love, called Deep Work. Deep work is really understanding the psychology of your brain and understanding how to stay in a space to where you are focused and driven and going. Okay. So you build yourself by understanding when you are hitting these upper limits, how you got to break through, how you got to get out of it and get out of your own head. Second is get in that deep work where you can stay focused for short periods of time, right? 90 seconds is your brain allows you to focus for very intense focus for 90 seconds. And then get going, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? Mel Robbins, gotta love that book, The 5-Second Rule. Get up, go. Don't think, go. Don't question, just go. Use your gut intuition, which oftentimes will be what is going to be the best way to get from where you are to where you're going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And at the end of the day, journal. Journaling is going to be the biggest thing for you. Write in your journal, purge out your negative thoughts. Never tell yourself, I will not go to bed in negativity. I will not go to bed feeling defeated. I will not go to bed self-loathing. Worst thing you could do, because then you wake up already negative and you're going to self-sabotage yourself throughout the day. You know, Craig Smith has a phenomenal book, right? The Greatest Day Mindset is the Focus Journal. I have preached this forever, but the Focus Journal is one, if not the best journal out there, because it helps you set your day up and then it helps you close your day. So you set your day up full of positivity, you close your day with purging. It's the best thing. My wife has taught this for years. Purge out, purge out, purge out. So you can go to bed feeling comfortable, happy. You can feel the bed going, you know what? Today sucked, but I purged it all out. Now I'm going to wake up feeling better. So that is... Just listening to Scott, man, he understood his calling early in life, and then he purged and he went and he grew, and now he's where he's at. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this episode was fan-flippin-tastic. It was one of those episodes you can go back and play and go, it was filled with everything that you needed. I have to tell you all, thank you so much. 10 countries down. We are growing faster. We're growing stronger. We're growing wider than ever before. It's because you guys like, you share, you comment, you leave a review, which I could not grow this without you. I consistently give you all thanks. Thank you so very much for all that you do. This episode and the one that we just had with Scott was fantastic. It's building. We're growing. We're sharing. We're liking. We're commenting. DM me because I love to read your comments. DM me because I love answering all your questions. I don't care if you live in the United States. I don't care if you live in Malaysia or Australia, the UK, or wherever it may be. You DM me. I guarantee you I will write you back 100%, guys. This episode comes out. Happy Mother's Day to all of you phenomenal mothers. You women have such great purpose and calling in this life. Thank you all so much. Again, this has been another fantastic episode of the Arch Study of You. Go crush it. Go know that you are born of royal heritage and royal lineage. Know that you are becoming the best version of yourself, not because you listen to this podcast, but other podcasts, because you are taking the steps to become the greatest person that has ever walked this earth. Like Craig Smith said, make today the greatest day ever. Shout out to all you guys that have been on this podcast. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being part of this wonderful episode. Keep dropping those reviews because I love it. I love it. I love you. Have a fantastic day. It's been another fun episode of the Art Study of You.